I was just reacting to something that got changed in the last second. But welcome back. I am your caster this evening. We're going to do a little fun scrim cast between Alaska and ReGen, two NGS teams in the same division, kind of practicing up before they verse each other. I believe, not next week, but the following. So just getting a couple games in, seeing, testing each other out. So let's get in here. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with the first ban, first pick. Meaning, I'm going to assume that Alaska on the left took the map pick of Sky Temple. So in this first ban slot, I'm just curious. The things that we typically see on Sky Temple is there's a prioritization on the global heroes. And the one thing I did not check, and I apologize that I have to do this in the middle of the stream, is my Windows playback devices, because it likes to change on me. Okay, we're at 100. We're good. All right, everything looks like it's all set, so we can just focus on draft at this point. Now, they're actually going to go ahead and ban out the ETC here. I kind of like this. From the games that we cast last night of Alaska, we did see that they do play that. So it's definitely, if they want to take that out, it looks like that's something they don't want to deal with. Especially Sky Temple, it's a map where I would honestly expect to see ETC. I think he's wonderful in the fights. The stage dive possibility versus the mosh is extremely, either or work on this map. So definitely a good ban, just all around, just not wanting to deal with that tank. Now on the side of Alaska, I'm curious to see what they're going to be banning out here. We have seen a little bit of Cho'Gall play from them in the past, but it looks like they're gonna hover the Tacita right now. And I don't disagree with this at all. The vision he provides is extremely beneficial to the team, but it looks like they're going to hover that Dahaka. So this is the global threat that we're talking about, and not having to deal with that is excuse me, I apologize. It's pretty good, honestly. They're going to go ahead and lock that in. Not a bad ban here at all. So the real question is, what are they going to take in this one slot? And the only thing for these scrims, they are still banning out Diva. But the question that I asked, but I don't know if I got an answer to, is if Ana's going to be banned out for these scrims, because that's going to be interesting. If she's allowed, I would love to see some of these teams play Ana and see kind of what they're fiddling around with at this point. But Sky Temple, I mean, we've seen a lot of just. In a lot of these games, we typically see like an Uther kind of first pickup here. They go for that healer in the first slot. So not the worst idea, but they're going to go ahead and pick up the Greymane right away. Strong solo laner, strong with the 4-man. He works in any situation here, so we'll see what he's going to be placed into. Now Alaska getting this 1-2 pickup. In the past, what we've seen them do is tank and healer, and I wonder if that's what they're going to be going into here. If they're going to change it up a little bit, I don't think I haven't cast ReGen on this map in a very long time, and I don't think I've ever cast Alaska on this map before. Because they still have the option, like I'm just thinking like Falstead's still an option. There's a lot of ways to kind of open up this draft, and I'm curious what they're going to be going with. I mean, you can go into the tank healer. You can go into, they could go into the Garrosh and the Kael'thuzad. That is a pretty decent combination, and locking that down right off the bat isn't horrible. They're going to go for the Garrosh Stukov. A little bit safer, a little bit smarter, honestly. The Stukov providing the zoning for this is extremely powerful. Garrosh with the throws are going to be really good, so I absolutely love these first two pickups. I was playing games with my friend earlier, and he plays a lot of support, and the one thing that we talked about is that we were playing with some Stukovs, and we were comparing them to the Ana healing and everything, and just like, but he's just so good. Like the pustule healing that he has is phenomenal. And the other thing that we started discussing is that first level talent that I've seen in a couple games here, where they actually take the range on the level 1 for Stukov, which is extremely odd to me because I feel like you're actually hindering your team a little bit too much. One, you are taking away the one thing that makes Stukov really great in a tight situation, which is the fact that he hits like a bus. And two, the expanding lurking arm, and I think the map that I was ranting and raving about it was Infernal Shrines. So there's so much zoning that you're giving away at that point. So I'm curious to see what they're going to be playing stat wise or ability wise for this start of this game on the side of Alaska. Now, I missed this and I apologize. I was kind of going on a little bit of a rant there, but we do have the Uther and Nubrak pickup, and that's honestly on the side of ReGen. That's a very strong start to a draft. Nubrak's just a phenomenal tank. The web wrap is really powerful as well. The Nubarian armor, if he goes into that, can mitigate some spell damage if they have to deal with it. Uther being able to provide the Divine Shield or Divine Storm, depending on what they go into. They could go into a secondary healer, making the Divine Shield not necessary, but typically we do see that onto the Greymane or even onto the Anubrak for that save. But at this point, it looks like they're going to go ahead and hover over the Chromie here, probably not wanting to deal with the artillery and poke that she can provide. On a map like this, much like Infernal Shrines, we do see a pick ban for the Chromie because they're, I mean, not these two maps specifically even. You could compare it to Towers of Doom, even Battlefield of Eternity, Brax's Holdout. Any point where it's a lot like the Cho'Gall mentality, where if you have to fight someone around a point, that is where they excel. Cho'Gall is wonderful on maps where you have to fight points, especially on 2-lane maps, such like Braxis. That's why we constantly see him there. Or on Tomb, where there's these turn-in points, but it's also the slow, short rotation, so it's not that hard to make those. So definitely Chromie ban here is extremely strong because if you do have to fight over these points, she can just stand in the back line and just poke out a lot of damage, get those stacks up, and then when she has the duplicate post 60 Sandblast, that just becomes a double threat, obviously. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and ban out the global on the side of ReGen, not wanting to deal with the possible rotations that Falstad can make throughout the game. I like that. Falstad being very, very good on this map for a lot like the same reasons for Chromie, where, fighting on these points. He has a lot of good poke damage from the back. The Gust is extremely useful for a team, especially in a team where you could Gust into a Silence potentially if the Stukhov's set up for that. Then you have Garros displacing team as well, so definitely a really strong ban on the side of ReGen. Overall, I mean, these drafts from both teams are quite good. Now, what are we going to be seeing out of Alaska here? They need to start rounding out their composition. On this map, we typically do see a prioritization on globals. But we also see things, and this is just me kind of reaching out a little bit here, and I don't expect it, but we do see things like the Lost Vikings. Nazeeba works here for push power. Sylvanas is also pretty powerful if we are just looking at specialists. But typically, we're going to see something like a melee ranged assassin here in the slot. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and see actually the Kel'Thuzad, and they're going to pick up their solo laner as well. So it looks like they're going to flex on their last slot. So the solo lane is currently going to be Sonya up against the Greymane, at least at what the draft currently is. They could completely, honestly, they could go into a Malthael here. It's not horrible. He works for the fights. He's also a decent solo laner, so he can go up against that Sonya, and that would be, I think, a little difficult for her. So that's the way that I would go if I was on the side of ReGen. And then on top of that, you could go with an Arthas too. That's also a viable option for the solo lane also. And I keep saying also, but he just provides a lot. Hey, hi Murda. Thank you for stopping by. I like the Malthael. I don't know about the Arthas though. I don't know if do they need another tanker? Their front line's decent. And they're going to go into a Medivh here. Interesting. That I did not expect. I expected something a little bit more for the front line. But we have a Medivh here on Sky Temple. Now I'm curious. I was going to say, I'm curious if it's going to change up the draft of Alaska, but they were sure about that Lunara pickup right away. This is going to be interesting. I'm trying to kind of like guess who's going to play what at this point, because I've casted these teams a lot, and the one thing that I'm not sure about is who's going to play the Medivh. But I'm pretty sure I know all the roles for Alaska. Yeah, I nailed those. Yep. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the casting mode. All right, and on the left-hand side, we have Alaska with Rexpa and Kael'Thuzad. Bubble This on Garrosh, Hedgie on Lunara, Varen on Stukov, and Sierras on Sonya. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with Templart on Nubrak, Turtles on Greymane, Murda on Malthael, Zul'Kan on Medivh, and Savior on Uther. I have to say, the portrait synergy, this is the thing that like kind of like freaked me out as we went from lobby into draft, and it just like caught me off guard as we were starting the stream. They all switched to like MVP at the last second, so it's like MVP versus you know, like green Nexagon. So portrait synergy is awesome. Now the one thing that they all need to discuss here is they need to, you know, show level or not, because I think a couple of those did not show level as they were loading in. Either way, that is the least of our concerns currently. We're going to go ahead and take a peek at some of these level 1 talents as we're loading into these games. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Now, the thing is, I don't play a lot of Medivh, so I might hover over a few of the talents here every so often. And, okay. I know what looks standard, and I know when to, like, you know, notice something that's out of place. What's Varen gonna take? I swear to God, if he takes the range talent, I'm gonna lose my mind. We'll find out. Please don't take the range talent. Don't do it. Don't make me feel like an idiot, and then when I ask you later, okay, cool. Because I've seen it from a couple people, and then I usually need to start asking teams because I'm like, what's the benefit? Like, I don't play support. I need to figure this out. Like, please let me learn from you. But either way, we do have this game starting out. We currently have the Malthael going into that top lane. Sierras will be following. It looks like Malthael potentially. I also want to note the wonderful thing about the new UI update is that you can see the little, you can see the arrows at which way the heroes facing, and it's just funny just to see on the minimap every so often. They're just like pinwheeling around. We actually have a toss on to Zul'Kan. They're gonna go ahead and portal away, and now Medivh is gonna kind of not like hard counter, but it's gonna be difficult for Garrosh to get these throws at this point, because there is gonna be, anytime he does get a displacement from one of these throws or from one of his W's here, he's gonna still have to deal with the fact that Medivh can portal out and get that, you know, person back into range. Now we do have a rotation from Rexpa into this top lane. Are we going to have Murda laning up a little bit too far? He currently gets dove on by Sierras. Rexpa is following up, but he will be able to walk away without a problem there. Now, mid lane, it looks like Savior and Templar are going to be staying here and working this out a little bit further. Nope, they're going to rotate up here. Bubble This is currently just zoning a little bit, waiting for Varen to get there. The Pustule is spread to a few of the members, so they're going to go ahead and start working this down. Zul'Kan will get the vision with the Medivh bird. Now, currently in top, just one thing I was just, looks like we had Sonya up there for a little bit, but the Nubrak and Malthael are currently going to be up there, so she's going to play a little bit safe. Zul'Kan scouting out the majority of where the enemy team is. We'll show where Sierras is, and we do have Murda currently getting onto him, but he will have the spin to be able to get out. So they will not be yielding a kill there. It looks like they're just going to go ahead and trade over these altars at this point, and in bottom lane we just have Hedgie versus Turtles. This has been the back and forth here for quite some time. Now we do have a potential rotation from Varen, giving the Pustule. And I believe he probably used that beforehand. So, oh, but Zul'Kan's here. He's going to be able to scout that out. They will not be able to get any sort of gank onto Turtles down there. But actually, oh, okay. I was looking at, every time I see on like the mini map, I'll see Greymane like diving forward, and I'm like, oh, these go. I didn't check the health bar. I could have just easily done that. But either way, we currently have the first altar phase, the shrine phase ending here. It's going to go ahead and split evenly between the two teams. We have a pull in from Bubble This on to Savior, but there won't be a follow-up toss. And it looks like the majority of the teams are just kind of just laning up at this point, playing extremely safe, working towards those 10s. We are going to have a camp pickup in this bottom lane from Varen and Hedgie. It will be scouted out by Zul'Kan, so they do know this is coming. They do know that the healer is on that point. So they go ahead and steal away theirs. Now, on top lane, we actually have Rexpa and Sierras up against Murda, pushing him into the gates pretty hard here. We're actually going to have a rotation from Sierras. running away from the Medivh bird, maybe? Just trying not to show? He is rotating through their vision, so he definitely can see that. I don't know if Zul'Kan knows where Sierras is. And he scouted out that camp, so they went to it right afterwards. And I apologize. They get the kill in the bottom lane. Templar and Turtles getting the kill onto Hedgie down there. Now, they do have this siege camp pushing up as well, so this will force a rotation from Vern and Bubble This. Now, the question is, will they potentially get a toss onto one of the members over the gate? And it looks like that will not be happening, because they do right away when Bubble This gets into lane. Turtles and Templar, they kind of back off here. They make sure that they're not in range of that throw. Bubble This kind of doing like the ETC, you know, mosh dance. He's doing the exact same thing, but it's the Garrosh toss dance, I guess. At this point, I mean, in top lane, we currently have Murda getting pushed in quite a bit. He will have to back at this point. He's actually going to go out. Zul'Kan is here, so he will have the protect status to be able to clear this. But at the same time, we only have 2 of the members of ReGen currently in this bottom lane, and 2 are in top. So they're going to need to play this extremely safe here, because quite a few of the members of Alaska are rotating down onto this point. They start to back off here right away. Hedgie providing vision into this bush. Lurking Arm is out from Varen just to give a little bit more of, in case someone runs through there, gets the dismount as well as it gets that silence. Currently have Rexpa in this mid lane, just keeping this back. They actually get the pull and the follow-up burst onto Zul'Kan here, but he will not be able to get the kill because of the protect status. And during this entire time, we are going to have this being held over by Bubble This. Looks like the majority of the members will not be able to rotate down in time from ReGen. We have Murda just working on this camp currently. Zul'Kan will rotate back up into the top lane, it looks like, to probably push up a little bit further for the camp that'll be coming. But at the same time, the moment they spot this, I'm curious to see if, are they going to push in bottom? They have two members, so they can count 4 members, so I'm assuming they know camp. Now at the same time, they're only showing Bubble This in lane, so I wonder if it's a ploy? Will ReGen go for it? Does not look like that. Either way, we actually have 10s getting achieved here on the side of ReGen first, and it was a little bit from that Medivh soak, but at the same time, it is also achieved on the side of Alaska just moments after. It looks like we have nothing too out of the ordinary. We do have Warlord Challenge from the Garrosh here, which I really like. Web Rep from the Anubrak, so look to see that come out in a big fight, probably onto the Stukov as a priority, just to make sure that they don't get that pustule healing out. We actually have Greymane taking go for the throat here. Leyline Seal from the Medivh. We do have D-Shield from Uther, so he won't be going to the Storm. But nothing really out of the ordinary. You get the pull here onto Murda. He is falling extremely low. Sierra's able to kind of get a little bit more damage onto him with that spin. Medivh will be here at this point to kind of go through the portal, get an auto attack off, and go back through. Now in bottom lane, we currently have a little bit of a matchup here. 3 of the members of ReGen are going up against these 2, and it looks like Savior's being held up in mid lane by Rexpa currently. Lurking Arm does go out to kind of just clear up this minion camp at a decent range. But at this point, I mean, it's just the teams are playing extremely safe, especially with Zul'Kan being able to bird form and just kind of wander around the map freely and just scout out where the teams are. There aren't any, you know, the Medivh really hinders the whole, you know, catch people out of position thing because of the fact that, you know, if he's providing vision of the enemy team, you can't really ever be out of position. So that's one of the things. But see, I look at minimap and I'm like, Medivh's about to get caught up by Rexpa. No. We currently have Savior going on to this point. Murda will go ahead and get the vision here, so they will potentially see the Sierras as he rotates center. He just has to take a larger rotation here. And we actually have Rexpa rotating up. It pulls a couple of the members towards him, but they don't go in on the fight here. Currently have Sierras walking around the map here. They're going to go ahead and it looks like they're just going to back off. They go ahead and rotate Sierras back into that top lane. It looks like a Nubrak will be going into the mid as well. Currently, the Garrosh and Bubble This and Rexpa will go ahead and start to clear out this camp and get that pushing in bottom lane. Meanwhile, on top, we just have Sonya working towards those 13, so Sierras will be able to confirm those. Turtle's probably going to be doing the exact same in a few seconds here. And one thing we have to note here, Medivh at 12 master touch stacks. And the other thing that I want to note, there's been one death this entire game. We've had one kill, and that was like a super, super early death in bottom, I believe. We have the vision going back over to Alaska here. Currently, though, the majority of ReGen is rotating back up just to kind of position themselves with the rest of the team for maybe even a fight. We do have Lunara providing decent vision with her globe, or her orb at the boss. So we'll see that if there is a call onto that. But at this point, with both teams kind of just not stalemating, but they're kind of rotating around. They're not really fighting on the objectives. They're playing extremely passively. And this is interesting because I'm wondering if there's just a certain moment when the power spike hits. Definitely, I mean, it shows because at this point there haven't been a lot of engagements because we currently have Rexpa with only 8 of his Blight stacks. So, and even then, you know, like Uther is, you know, Wave of Light. He's only at 16. So this is, as I was saying, I mean, Medivh at 13 stacks. This has been a very, very passive game from both teams. And we do have a little bit of a push up and top with this camp currently. It looks like they're going to go ahead and just push that up. And the next temple phase should be starting any moment, I do believe. So looks like they're going to rotate a few members down into the mid lane just to posture up around that so they can at least rotate quickly here. Now there is a camp being picked up on the side of ReGen here. So they're going to go ahead and get this, and it will push up the top lane as Murda is clearing out that top camp. So that's going to be perfect for them. And it looks like at this point, they're going, on the side of Alaska, they're just going to put all their members into the bottom lane and go on to the boss. Are they faking boss? Because they all showed in lane. And okay, so the entire team of ReGen rotate down. Malthael having to rotate down here. Actually, he's going to turn around. Bubble this is zoning a little bit. Sonya's on the point. They actually start boss right away. Leyline Steel is available for Medivh. There's a lot available currently. Now, the thing is, if they do stack up onto this point, that's where Rexpa just absolutely just explodes in damage. Portal will end at this point. Medivh just currently floating above, and this is the same thing. It's like the Garrosh, throw dance or the ETC mosh dance. Like this is currently the Medivh Leyline Seal dance. Like he's waiting and trying to make sure that he gets the right angle so he can get as many people in the Leyline Seal as possible. So we currently have that happening. The Leyline Seal actually has not come out yet. It actually did get canceled. I think it got canceled out at the last second. The huge flailing swipe out from Varen there. The D-Shield is out onto one of the members we currently have. Turtles going in. So many members are dying, but Greyman's going to be falling here as well. We also have the Uther falling as well, and that is going to be a Nubrak dying as well. Murda was able to get this top fort, but unfortunately, since he didn't rotate down with his team, he did stay up there and he did get a lot of value. The camp pushed up. They got the keep front gate. They got that entire shrine. But at the same time, they did lose their entire team, and they lost over on the boss. So this is going to be a boss probably working. This is going to be a keep. With just Murda currently alive, potentially. Okay. I was a little worried that he was going to get the mythical spear was going to hit him from Sonya. And there was poison damage on that. And as Hedgie doing quite a bit of damage onto Murda as well. And that, as I said, that's going to be the keep going over. Now, mid lane is being stacked up quite a bit with these ranger minions, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see maybe someone rotate there and push that up a little bit further. Now it looks like they'll just go ahead and clear that out, and they're going to go and snag the siege camp on the side of ReGen. Rexpa rotating into the bottom lane at this point from top. After pushing up that lane a little bit, making sure that it's cleared up and it's kind of in their favor. And they went ahead and did the exact same thing in bottom. I mean, granted, they had the boss push through and they just threw in the siege camp. And they're going to go ahead and throw in this other siege camp with the catapult wave that should be aggressing up. Now, Greymane is in top, and I do believe that he showed. Does not look like Alaska will take advantage of that. Zul'Kan providing a decent amount of vision here. to the majority of the teams, making sure that, you know, as they're rotating up, he is showing where the majority of Alaska are. So that way ReGen does know, you know, they can kind of rotate safe or which path that they're going to take. But currently this is a single, you know, point altar. So we potentially will see a big old fight happening right now. Go ahead and pull that off for just the moment. Now, the one thing, I have to go back and look at the replay. I never saw Leyline Seal go off. I wonder if it was canceled as he came out of bird form or what, but they actually get the toss onto Zul'Kan. He is taunted. He can't go through. They get the dive from Hedgie. The poison is there, but unfortunately, I do not think that they will be able to get the kill. Healing from Uther was enough to counteract the poison. Now, Sierras has been on this point, you know, whittling this away. So they do get about half the shrine. Zul'Kan is about half health, but he is providing a decent amount of vision, and he can't be knocked out of bird form. They actually get the toss onto the Anubrak here. There is the there is the silence as well. Quite a bit of damage is going out. Murda's falling extremely low. The Divine Shield goes out onto him. He currently has 170. Leyline Seal went out and got a decent amount of disengage from the team, but they are currently chasing. Garrosh getting quite a good pull there. Sierras still chasing in. Turtles will turn around and get the kill onto Sierras there. Pull in on from Rex, but is there the follow-up burst? There's actually another W from Garrosh. We actually have Hedgie killing Murda there from, I believe, the damage over time. We currently have poison out onto quite a few of the members. They're going to be going through the portal at this point. They're going to completely disengage from this. Now, the one thing I want to know is while all this was happening, the stacking of these minions in this bottom lane has been outrageous. Now, they will be able to get this clear before it does anything besides a little bit of shield damage. But at the same time, this is something that they're going to need to worry about throughout this game. They're going to want to make sure that they're rotating into that bottom lane, clearing out those catapults as quickly as possible, because if those stack up, that can potentially be the end of the game for them. We do have a little bit of a fight here in the top lane, potentially starting out. We do have 20s on the side of Alaska, so that definitely will be a little bit of an advantage for them, and they are trying to push up with this. With a level lead, they actually get the Ice Spear out. Are they going to try and... Okay. They're not going to try and pull any members towards it. Yep, okay. I'm learning all the player icons for Kel'Thuzad still, so I apologize. But it looks like nothing too crazy here. I don't think I'm seeing anything out of the ordinary. Now, we do, once again, as I was saying, this bottom lane, it's starting to stack up, and it's going to keep doing this. Zul'Kan getting the vision. They will just rotate back onto this point once again, get this camp, and they're just currently making these rotations around the map as they get these shrines. Alaska having really good control over the macro play here. And even the micro play, I mean, that boss play, like the one thing that I keep questioning and I need to see, where did the Leyline Seal go? I never saw it happen. So they actually start this right away. Zul'Kan able to provide the majority vision for his team, so they do know that they can come in on this nut. But the question is, will they be able to rotate in on time? Flailing Swipe is available for... Oh, they go ahead and disengage from this completely. They let ReGen take it over, so it is leashed to them at this point, so the damage will go straight onto them. And this boss is just getting pulled, which... Either way, it is unleashed, so it will be starting to slowly gain health. The second time it becomes unleashed, it goes from 0 to full. But the first time it's you know, that's the slow version. Every time I look at the minimap, I'm just like, oh, Zul'Kan, where are you going? But oh, nope, he's in bird form. So Blizzard, please make bird form. That way I can see minimap and I know which one I'm looking at. Just for me, please. We currently have Turtles rotating into the bottom lane, clearing out the siege camp and catapult. So with that, and also the fact that Medivh went top, they're not... Okay, I thought they were going to press out onto a few of the members, but it looks like they just go ahead and they clear up this lane, and they're just going to play safe here on the side of ReGen. Or excuse me, on the side of Alaska. And actually, there is a bird form. I just looked at the player icon, so that's on me. Bad call on my part. We actually have Sierras potentially getting caught out here. The Mythical Spear will not connect. There is the Ignore Fang, just so much damage. They're trying to burn everything they have onto Sierra as the spin is there, and unfortunately they don't get the kill. But at the same time, the one thing I do want to note here is that Alaska has been working on this boss. We actually get a burrow in from Templar, and they don't have that anymore. The web wrap is out onto one of the members of Alaska. The D-shield is onto him as well. The flailing swipe is out as well. Just a view. Push some of the members away. Currently, Rexpa is back out of that web wrap. We currently have Stukov falling here, so Vern will be out, but we also have the kill onto Greymane. Turtles will be dead here. This 3v3 is... We have... Templar will be falling there to the splintered spiel of Lunara. She is 2 seconds away, so Hedgie does have a leaping strike here quite soon. There is the kill onto Uther, and that is going to be boss encore with 0 defense. And I think Uther has redemption. That's why they're chasing him. I was like, why are they chasing Uther around down here? It's post 20. He has redemption. There it is. But boss will be whittling down this core. The GGs are thrown out, and this first game will be going over to Alaska. GG, well played. All right. Well, welcome back. Also, thank you for the new follows that we might have missed while we were in that game. Hi to everybody in Twitch chat also. How you guys doing tonight? Thanks for swinging by. My mouth does not want to say words tonight. I was going to talk about talents, but I hit the button already, and I apologize. So we cannot talk about those damage numbers. I'll have to look at the VOD for those. But definitely the one thing, that was very interesting. There is a bird form icon, I know. All right. So while we set up the next lobby, we can talk about a little bit. These are just NGS teams. This is the Nexus Gaming Series. They're doing a little bit of a scrim, so I always like to try and practice my own casting, as well as, you know, people like to be showcased on Twitch. So I will always cast some scrims whenever I can. But definitely, it's absolutely a blast to do these. Now, I know the scrim block is for like another hour, so they should be deciding on what map they're going to be going into next. So with that, we can discuss a little bit. If you guys are interested, please hit that follow button. If you're enjoying the stream so far, I definitely. I'm at this point. I have my next this week and next week pretty much planned out for streams. Pretty much every day is a different game. Tomorrow night is actually going to be Alaska versus, I believe, Insomniacs. So that is going to be an NGS game, official NGS game tomorrow. I'm trying, I have 3 things I need to do in between these scenes, and I keep forgetting. All right, I need to update the team score. And I'm getting invited to a game at the exact same time. All right, we'll go ahead and accept that. Left side team score properties. Okay, so all that is all set. Looks like they are just getting in here ever so slowly, but we will be getting to the game in a second here. But if you're enjoying the stream, please hit that follow button. If you want to know when I go live, you can hit ! Twitter in the Twitch chat, and it'll give you the link to that. And I always try and tweet out in the morning or the night. Well, I'm very bad at tweeting out the night before. But either way, I always try and make sure that I let people know when I'm going live and with what it's going to be. So, for example, I let everyone know today that I was doing a little scrim cast and a swing by at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And if it's too late for you, you can always catch the VODs. They're always on my Twitch page for 14 days. If they disappear, you can go over to my YouTube page, which you can hit YouTube, ! YouTube in the Twitch chat, and it'll take you there as well. Just a quick, a couple quick commands for a few people. That way it's just a little bit easier so you guys can get the things that you need from me. So we are just waiting on one member of ReGen to get into the lobby here really quick, and then we'll be underway into our next matchup. So it looks like they got them in. Let me go ahead and let them know that I am ready. I should hover over the draft button over here while I drink water because I know it always happens whenever I'm in the middle of a set. I guess not. Okay. I got lucky this time. And it was the moment I actually looked away from my stream deck. But we are going to Infernal Shrines here on our second map in this little scrimcast that we're doing here. On the left-hand side, we have Alaska up 1 game. They don't count for anything, but we keep track for funsies. And on the right side, we have ReGen. So, Infernal Shrines, first pick, first ban on the side of Alaska. Do they go for the Tassadar ban here? Or do they go for a potential pickup onto the Tassadar? We often see a prioritization ban-wise for him, but I don't know if I often... They don't get first pick too often, I don't think. I mean, whenever I cast them, they get a map pick and a first pick, so it's always like that. But I don't think I've ever seen them go for the kind of, the game you play with people where it's like, oh, I'll ban out this in hopes you ban out my Tassadar, so that way you kind of waste a ban on something that we didn't technically need, but we were showing it in previous, it's that kind of mind games you can do to teams, especially when you do scrim blocks like this. Granted, most of the time people are just, testing out different things here and there, but you never know. I personally think that it's just going to be another tab. Okay. It's Dahaka. That's interesting. Because Dahaka is extremely powerful on this map, and with the first slot to pick up, I'm surprised that they didn't try and prioritize it themselves. I mean, granted, and that's the whole thing, is like, I'm not in their comms, I don't know. Like, you don't know that they were like, well, what we're going to draft is completely against Dahaka. So it's definitely something to consider on these teams. And it's just like, I think like when I started casting, there was like 50 heroes in the game, and now there's like 75. Like I said, we're gonna have a hover ban on the Kael'thuzad. It looks like ReGen does not want to deal with that again, and for good reason. That was terrifying. I personally would not want to deal with a Kael'thuzad. At least one that's running the combos like they were in the last game. But either way, this first pick slot is going to be ETC. Okay. ETC is an absolutely powerful tank on this map. The power slide is absolutely great. I thought that was this chat. They're just saying like GG's, like that's it. You got ETC. That's GG's. But no. But the ETC is extremely powerful on this map, mostly because he does displace teams and he can actually peel pretty well because of the fact that the shrines are these really tight, narrow fighting arenas that you have, and he is absolutely good at just pushing people apart, and that way just it's way easier for people to focus. And with that, we typically see Alarak, and I'm curious to see if Alaska will go into Alarak at some point in this draft. But we have this 1-2 pickup on the side of ReGen. So the thing I was going to say is, do they go for the Greymane? Strong solo laner, strong Shriner? And they do. They get the Garrosh with it also, which I absolutely love. The displacement you can get from Garrosh is really good. But here's the thing. On a map like this, when you're fighting inside these shrines, it could potentially be countered. I don't know. Countered isn't the right word, but like if you are in these shrines and you go for the toss, you're not going to get it, because you're probably going to end up hitting a minion or a skeletal defender. So I don't know. Like, it's granted you do have the pull and you can pull them a little bit further away from all that. There's more to it, but I'm just trying to think out throughout the draft. But either way, Garrosh is a strong pick with the Greymane. I absolutely like that lock-in for the 1-2 slot. Now, before we go into the ban phase here, on the side of Alaska, I personally, like, you lock in the Stukov here and you go for some sort of AoE. Maybe even a Gul'dan or a Kael'thas. Or you just pick up your... Ouch. I'm just looking at the composition. Like, there's just so much to basically set up Chromie in this situation. There's a lot of body blocking from ETC. Because if you get the power slide through a member and they're trying to leave the shrine, with ETC being so big, you get such a good body block. Then on top of that, you can typically throw the silence from the Stukov underneath that, and then Chromie just has free range to just dump sand on people. Now, at the same time, the thing we have to consider for the counteraction in this is that you have the Garrosh, which will could potentially mitigate this body blocking situation where Chromie can get the artillery out. because of the fact that he can do that displacement and you know move people around. If there is body blocking, he can also throw some of his teammates out of way. So there's definitely a lot of good synergy that can work with the Garrosh up against the Chromie, but I'm terrified of that Chromie. And this is the thing that we were talking about when I was talking about the last map, about just the range damage, the artillery that you can get from her. This is the map where you're going to see it. They're going to have to fight around this shrine. It's going to be a 5-man situation, and Chromie's going to get so much poke, so much damage, as well as just stacking, because it's going to be so easy to get those Qs off. So, we have a Malthael ban and a Cho ban. That's interesting that they would go in for the Cho ban there. Cho'Gall works on this map. It's the exact same premise as what we had talked about in the last one with the Chromie and you know, Cho'Gall being on maps where if you have to fight him, he succeeds in that situation. So, you know, banning it out, they potentially could be going for it here. They had the slotting for it. They could go for an Ariel. The draft on the side of Alaska doesn't really lend too much towards an Ariel, and at the same time it does on the side of ReGen. And I'm curious to see if the Cho'Gall actually affected their draft here. Me personally, with the way that it's going, I would like to see an Ariel with a Gul'dan. I think the Ariel Gul'dan Greymane would work very well together, and then you could flex on that last slot for.
There is always hope.
Okay, no cream. All right. So then I was just going to say you flex on the last spot with maybe another off tank, like something like a Sonya. You could go into the Arthas here. That's a wonderful last slot. But on the side of Alaska, we do need to kind of round out their draft here. They don't have a solo laner currently. So we could see that, you know, the Arthas, the Sonya, the Alarak that I was kind of alluding to at the start of the draft. I personally think that Alarak does a phenomenal job at this map. It's where there's a lot of tight points, he does very well. And then they could technically go into a Diablo here with that too, which wouldn't be bad. The charge and the overpower could set up a lot of good just kills here. There's a lot of options you can go into. Like Malfurion works very well on this map too. I don't think they're going to go into the double support. I feel like they'd lean more towards the double tank composition. So they're going to go for the Sonya, and they're going to take the Falstaff for the global threat. I absolutely like that. Because that's actually interesting. I'm curious to see how that's gonna throw off ReGen a little bit, because I don't know if they expected there to be a global. They took out the Dahaka, so there is no kind of counter to that technically. There are heroes that do counter, but I don't know. Now here's the thing. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Talking about globals, Abathur is a complete option in the situation. Gul'dan, Greymane. I mean, you got the triple Gs and you got Ariel. I think that those are all wonderful target options. I think that the team composition currently is very strong. I think they can perfectly go into an Abathur here. I absolutely think that Abathur should be the choice. That's going to be D.Va. D.Va works very well on this map. The zoning that she can provide, the mitigation to damage, as well as and when I say zoning, the mecha explosion. So we do have to watch out for the one talent I believe is banned is the nuke. I think the actual option, I think it's called nuclear option. I think we need to just make sure that I go ahead and keep an eye on that. But either way, we're going to be going to this next matchup. I am absolutely ecstatic about this. Still think Abathur, though. On the left-hand side, up one game, we have Alaska with Rexpa on Chromie, Bubble This on ATC, Hedgie on Falstead, Varen on Stukov, and Sierras on Sonya. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with Template on Garrosh, Savior on Ariel, Murda on Greymane, Zul'Kan on D.Va, and Turtles on Greymane. All right. So let's go ahead and take a peek at these level 1 talents. It looks like we have the Time Walker's Pursuit from Chromie, standardized from there. Proc Crack from ETC, the Warpaint from Sonya, Gilnea's Cocktail build from the Greymane. We have Corruption stacks from Gul'dan. Seasoned Marksman stacks from Hedgie. We've hit the Nitrous. Okay. Nothing out of the ordinary here. We have Sio's currently rotating into the top lane right away. We will currently have just the vision out from Rexpa. That Time Walker's Pursuit is going to be really annoying as this game progresses. Oh, and I have to compliment Bubble this. Perfect mount. I bought it earlier today. I absolutely love that mount. We do have the toss onto Bubble this, the slide through. Corruption stacks onto Varian, so they are getting quite a few off of that runaway. So they might want to make sure that they're not going to be running in those. We're actually going to see a 4-man rotation out of ReGen between the mid and bottom lane here. This is interesting. We have the exact same thing coming out from Alaska, it looks like. No, they're going to go ahead and they're going to keep their Falstad in bottom, their Sonya in top, and they're going to just rotate maybe with a couple 3 members if they need to. Bubble this, Varian, and Rexpa just going to kind of get this poke damage out. And it looks like they're just going to dedicate Hedgie to the bottom lane the entire time, just kind of constantly push up this wave a little bit ahead, so it is a little bit in their favor. But at the same time, it's still just in that midpoint. Currently, Rexpa putting a time trap down in this middle rotation spot. Just the consecutive blast coming out here. 16. Can we note that really quick? A minute 14 and you're at 16 Sandblast stacks. That's absolutely terrifying. But either way, we'll go a little bit further and we're going to be going into this game. Currently, Rexpa putting out that. Does actually get tossed by Templart there. We do have Bubble this rotating in, trying to make sure that he gets the body blocks. There is no pullback from Templart. We do have a toss onto Varen here at this point. We do have a little bit of sand being dropped down from Rexpa. Savior in that backline getting harassed by Sierras. Hedgie has rotated up at this point, trying to find an in. Templar is kind of just in this good zoning position, but there's a bunch of sand coming out from Rexpa here. Actually, just really just focusing down Turtles and Murder. Doing a really good job. Actually, the time trap will stop the Zul'Kan in this spot right here. They actually get the zoning here, and they're starting to push ReGen out. Rexpa is getting quite a bit of damage out into Zul'Kan, but at the same time, he can throw his mecha in there. Uses boost to get over to the well quick enough. They actually get the power slide out onto Turtles here, and they get the kill. That'll be first blood going over to Alaska. Murda getting out of there with just under 200 health. And this looks like it's going to be the first Punisher going over to Alaska here. ReGen getting zoned out. Murda having to Hearth to get full before the Punisher is going to walk down the lane. Currently have Zul'Kan just under 100 health. Just trying to make sure he doesn't lose the mech. And I think he wants to try and save it for when the Punisher does jump. Utilize that as kind of a target. Also get the mecha explosion off and zone a few of the members of Alaska away. They currently rotate Hedgie into that bottom lane. So we go ahead and soak there a little bit more, working on those stacks. We have actually the majority of Alaska here pushing into this lane. And with Rexpa just kind of throwing out this damage, they really can't defend against this too easily. Now, they were burning down the Immortal, or the Punisher, that entire time. Gul'dan getting a few corruption stacks there. Rexpa's a little bit low on mana, so it looks like they'll have to do a disengage at this point. In top lane, we have Murda going up against Sierras. And it looks like they're just going to kind of trade this out very evenly. Just playing safe, going to the mid, then just backing off. Hedgie currently in this bottom lane is going to be pushing up towards the gate. Getting a little bit of the tower shots off and also getting rid of one of the towers. Do have a stun, a time trap from Rexpa here onto Templar. Zoning from Varen, but we have Zul'Kan getting that DPS out, power slide out from Bubble this, pushing a few of the members back, and they go ahead and just get the full disengage. Sandblast out, but that will be an automatic heal from Savior. Turtle's able to just go ahead and siphon off from that minion wave as well. Now, at the same time, we do have 7s achieved. There's about a level difference, and 7s are achieved first on the side of Alaska. And this is the thing that I was kind of pointing out at the start is I'm not sure about this 4-man rotation, especially if it's one of those things like you can potentially do it, and I think if they were to be getting picks with this, I think it would work perfectly. But at this point, I honestly think that the 4-man rotation is slowly hindering them because Falstad in bottom lane is getting a little bit of extra push here and there, and it looks like they go ahead and they disregard the entire push, but they have dedicated 2 tanks and a healer together. Turtles will rotate up into the team because you have to have the Ariel and Gul'dan together. Otherwise, I mean, like, I don't think D.Va can generate enough energy for Ariel to really for that to work out. It would have been better to have like an Uther in that situation if you're going to go that route. But at this point, they are kind of posturing up to get onto Hedgie as the barrel roll out. Templar not able to get that pull back, and this is going to be This is going to be the Punisher in the top lane. So ReGen having to do a full rotation here. They actually start to push out this top lane right away before it even, before they even proc the shrine. They actually get Chromie her 10s with that, or excuse me, she had her 10s. And they're going to have Slowing Sands, and the zoning from that is going to be absolutely phenomenal as this game progresses here. Now, on the side of ReGen, 10s aren't achieved on either side, so they definitely have that on their, for themselves. Templar having to walk through this, from this, he's going to get stopped here. Combo is going to be going out. Will be getting hit by the Dragon's Breath. Zul'Kan starting to zone a few of these members out. Sears will have to back out. Rexper trying to get some of that poke out. Templar taking a ton of damage and actually will be falling here, so that will swing the momentum of the battle, but Murda currently disengaging through. Oh, he's going to get knocked into the wall, but he will be able to get out just safe. There wasn't a quick enough rotation from Alaska there onto him. He will be able to stay alive here, providing a little bit of poke damage into the shrine with his Gilneas cocktails. Gul'dan will be able to kind of poke in there as well every so often with some Fel Flames as well as some Corruption stacks. And they're going to go ahead and just stack off a Vern here real easy. But at the same time, 10s are a minion away on the side of Alaska, and this is also an Arcane Punisher pushing up at the same time. So we have Mosh Pit from ETC, Gust from Falstad, Flailing Swipe from the Stukov, and 0 to 100 from Rexpa and the Punisher there. They are going to get the kill onto Murda, and they're currently going to burn down this gate. Now, there is the silence right underneath him, as well as the slowing sand, so this Punisher is getting quite a bit of value. Jumping onto a few of the members, they actually dive into his backline. They get the kill onto Turtles. Falstad flying forward, is the barrel roll as well, and then the Gust right into the team. They get the kill onto Garish as he's still sliding backwards. Savior is going to be falling here as well. This is going to be the Punisher falling at the same time. 11s are on the side of Alaska, and they go ahead and burn down this fort, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and push up this wave and steal away the camp. Murda is rotating on to bubble this, but he does see with the Gilneas cocktail that the entire team is there. Backs off right away and just will play safe. Now, in bottom lane, D.Va has been pushing up quite a bit. They are kind of hoping that the next Punisher is bottom. They can definitely, if they can get that with their 10s here, they'll definitely, without the gate, they'll definitely be able to get a little bit more value. But at this point, they're going to have to defend top lane first and soon mid, because it looks like they're going to probably stack up a few mercenaries here. The other thing I want to note really quickly, siege camps, I believe, are stronger now. So I'm curious because they were buffed 50% on the patch this week, or today, and they also scale at that 50%. So I'm curious to see how these siege camps, because in the past, they didn't do a whole lot. So I'm curious to see what their kind of damage output is now. And they kind of get the well a little bit, a little bit of damage under that well, but either way, we do have this bottom fort getting opened up in bottom lane for Alaska. Looks like ReGen will rotate the majority of their members down. They're going to maybe try and take a fight here before 13s are achieved. This is really tight here. They don't... Sears actually is going to finish this camp as they try to invade onto it. They don't get the pull from Templar, but they go ahead and looks like they'll clear the camp before it really gets much value. But it is slowing them down an insane amount here because they have to rotate around and respond to these camps that Alaska keeps grabbing, and this is exactly what Zul'Kan was working for. He's trying to burn down this gate so that way if they do get the Punisher next, they can utilize that push power, because this is, the Punishers are going to start scaling as this game progresses. I mean, they are, obviously, and Templar taking quite a bit of damage. The Unstoppable is used. There is a silence on to Zul'Kan. He doesn't have the Mecha Explosion. They actually have a pushback on him, a huge Horrify, and actually they still get the kill onto the Diva. Rexpa currently finishing, I believe that is going to be his level 1 Time Walker's Pursuit. Savior will be falling there. And this is going to be Sierra. So this is exactly what I talk about Sonya on this map. I talk to people about Sonya on this map all the time. This is the exact situation you want to have with her. If you win over a fight and your team can't do anything, this is what you do. You have Sonya sit on the you have her sit on the point. She's just going to be able to clear this out. She has her whirlwind. The rest of the team will move forward, burn down the fort, and now your Punisher is going to aggress onto a keep gate rather than just aggressing onto a fort. And this is a really good play on the side of Alaska. Now, we do have Zul'Kan getting caught out a little bit there. We have Garrosh currently in the top or in the mid lane, going ahead and trying to soak for 13s. They actually push up top as well. So this top lane is going to get stacked up a little bit. There are cannon shots, so this will get burned out. But the other thing that we need to consider here is Rexpa has finished his level 1 talent, so he now has these double cast for Sandblast, as well as the fact as now he's just going to keep stacking further. It's an unkept ability, much like Asmodan, I believe. I was testing it out earlier this week, and I could not find a ceiling for it, so it's scary as you progress. Now, Punisher will jump on to, oh my god, 2 of the members. We have Savior and Turtles falling here. The Gust to disengage. The Punisher does take a little bit of damage, but they go ahead and actually get the keep with this Punisher still. They go ahead and they back off at this point. Punisher does hop on to Zul'Kan. He actually has to use his Unstoppable, and he will be able to get out there fine. Now, will they go ahead and steal away this camp, or are they just going to... So they're going to rotate into mid, clear this up. Bubble This will be finishing his level 1 talent. Hedgie is, I believe, like a minion stack or 2 away. There he is finishing his, and it looks like the only one that's left is just the Cocktail, and I think Murder needs like 3. He might even be able to get a few if the members are going to stack here. The Horrify actually comes out onto Chromie. They get the pull onto Rexpa. There is Garrosh falling, though. A huge mosh from Bubble This onto 2 of the members. The Ariel does get the Crystal Aegis onto Murda, but he will be falling here. Diva, Zul'Kan falling extremely low. Sierra's diving so deep to potentially get the kill, but unfortunately there's no follow-up damage, and they will just go ahead and push up this lane. Oh, okay. Well, Blizzard, just so you know, the flag doesn't show who got the camp here. Because they added that new feature that if you get the tower, it shows your name above your flag. It doesn't do it in custom games, which is interesting to me. So I don't know if it's maybe just something that was left out, or if they just kind of didn't do it. Because custom games never get any sort of buff or any fun to them. That's why you still have to be a referee when you are casting just to literally hit a button. Just combine it all. Combine it all. Just make it so much easier for us. But either way, we're gonna have the majority of Alaska just rotating around the map at this point, getting a few of these camps, pushing up the lanes. Murda will be going ahead and pushing out this bottom. Meanwhile, the rest of his team will be doing the exact same thing for the top. And since the shrine is there, they're gonna want to make sure that they prioritize the pushback in that lane. We actually do have this dance between Templard and Bubble This just rotate right next to each other. Currently have this camp in mid lane getting pushed back. We are going to have, it looks like in bottom, we're going to have Murda go ahead and steal away this camp, which will push up a little bit. This is good foresight for the rest of the game. If they can get this camp and push into this bottom lane, this will get them a lot of value. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and have to give over the Punisher. They have the rest of their 4-man in this mid lane. They're currently going to be pushing into this quite hard. I wonder if this is going to force a rotation from Alaska. They get the camp in bottom. Murda is hearthing currently. They get the gate in mid. A few of the members are starting to hearth. Actually, all the members are. They are starting to aggress onto this keep, actually. Sierras is still on the shrine, working through those skeletal defenders. And they pull the entire team back at this point. Now, that camp is going to be pushing in bottom lane for quite some time. We're going to peek down here really quickly. But there are catapults that do have range that actually will counteract that. So typically, there aren't catapults that would do that. So that's pretty good. That camp won't be getting a whole lot of value in bottom. They get the tower and a little bit of the gate. Now, This is an Arcane Punisher. We are 14 minutes into the game. 18s to 15s, so they're really close on the side of ReGen. If they can just get, a few mini waves, maybe if they even get a pick, if, Templar can get a toss on the Rexpa, or if there's just a really good Horrify out from Turtles, they can definitely do this. But they get the jump onto Templar here. Falling extremely low. There is a lot of damage coming out from Chromie into that backline. Murder taking half his health, already falling there. Currently have Templar falling low. Murder taking a little bit more damage. He's actually going to get jumped onto, and I wouldn't be too surprised. They are going to dive right onto him. Now, we are going to have Savior falling here as well. Currently, the self-destruct is gusted away. They don't even deal with it, and they're currently going to go ahead and get this mid keep as well, since the Punisher did rotate over to that. And with 2 dead, I wouldn't be too surprised for them to kind of aggress onto this keep. Currently, there is a mini wave that did come up through the bottom lane with 3 catapults. Rexpa will use his timeout to be able to get not thrown there. Punisher going to jump onto Templar, and it looks like this second game will be going over to Alaska. GG, well played. Okay, so this time I promise I won't be shifting off of this screen too quickly. We'll stay here until we get invited to the next lobby, because I believe there should be one more game. It is 8 o'clock, and I believe this block is till 8:30 if I'm remembering correctly. Ooh. So Rexpa just put. So the one thing I wanted to know is the Chromie, Rexpa's Chromie, is absolutely terrifying. I mean, I think at one point it was like it was sub 2 minutes into the game, and he was already 16 stacks. I think I was playing on an ARAM, which means that there's literally only one direction the team can come from, and I don't even think I was at 16 stacks that quickly. Like that was just the homing missiles. But at the same time, we also have to give kudos like Turtles. I mean, the siege damage was absolutely phenomenal out of her for her team, as well as the hero damage. Greymane just doing so well in that solo lane, but unfortunately, just Sierra's just the patience that came out from Alaska in this game was kind of terrifying, because they played a lot of things very safe. They didn't do any sort of fancy rotations. They just played the lanes, and that was honestly what they did for the entire game. And then at the end, that's pretty much what won out, because the rotations actually, you lose out a little bit on the rotations when you do those between top and mid. If you're not doing them in a perfect manner and cleaning, you will be losing out. Some of the minion wave will be getting tower shot or dying just to other things. So it's definitely something to consider that they left the Falstad bottom, they left the Sonya top, and they just had a 3-man in mid. Like, they just played like a standardized laning phase. They didn't drop a kill the entire time, I'm just now noticing. So absolutely phenomenal play. But they dove onto a few of the members there so well. They had a really good shrine set up. It's just they couldn't get onto that shrine because Chromie was poking the entire time. There was just so much damage that went out. I'm just looking through a few of the talents. Okay. So the only thing I'm curious, and I don't play a ton of Greymane, but would this have been a situation where Go for the Throat might have been worth it? Because, I don't know, I feel like they could have utilized Go for the Throat onto Rexpa there. That's interesting. I wonder how that talent would have shaped out the entire game if they had gone in that direction. But either way, we are going to go ahead and set up for our next game really quick. Let me go ahead and just ask the teams, actually. Where are my teams? Oh, I haven't whispered to any of them today. That'd be why. Okay, so I got a message out to the teams, and we will see if they're going to play more. I'm going to assume so. I'll keep an eye on my friends list because I have most of them there, so I can see if they're in a lobby or not. Actually, it looks like they're going to go ahead and set up the lobby. Yeah. So we're going to go into game number 3. So let me go ahead and set up just the one little thing that I need to do. Left side properties. All right, so go ahead and just double check with the teams that this is last.
You could
Oh.
give the best hugs.
Altarian, thank you so much for the follow. Another follow, great quality NGS cat. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the follow, man. It means the world to me. I absolutely love it when people stop by and check out the stream and just, you know, they say hi in Twitch chat and hang out and watch some games. This is, thank you for swinging by. So just really quickly, before we go into this game, I will let everyone know that we either have this game or maybe one more. I personally might even try to push them for 3. We'll see. It's up to the teams, honestly. It's only 8 o'clock for me. As long as I get one episode of some Netflix show in, I am good. So I will let the teams know that I am ready. But tomorrow night, we have Alaska, which is the team that has been on our left this entire time. I will be casting them for NGS official, for an official NGS game at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on this channel. So swing by pretty much tomorrow night, or swing by in 23 hours. So set your alarm clocks for 23 hours from now so you can swing by and watch Alaska versus Insomniacs. Otherwise, if you are enjoying the stream as Altarian just did, please hit that follow button. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much. And you get to see the fun little animation my friend made. That's actually the best part because it has my dog in it. So I love seeing it because it's my little bandit on the screen. But either way, we're currently just working through. It looks like people are just kind of setting up the last little bit here. I'm just making sure that everything is working out perfect, and it is. All right. All right, I'm going to let them know that I am ready. I will hover my draft button, and we will get going into game number 3 on to Dragonshire. Ooh, Dragonshire, interesting. I really like the rotation of maps that we're seeing in this Scrim series. This is absolutely phenomenal. Dragonshire, ooh, what are we going to see here? Priority on global. So Brightwing, Falstead, those are a lot of heroes that we typically see on this map. Or as well as Dahaka. Sorry, there's I can feel a burp coming and I didn't want to burp through Dahaka. I do it for my friends, but I will not do it while I'm casting. I refuse. That's bad stream quality. But it looks like we're going to have the hover on Dahaka from ReGen here. Not a bad idea. Now the question is, there's a priority on global on this map. Do they try and take the Falstead early? Because I don't think I've casted a game since when I first started casting Chair League, where I was seeing Falstead as a #1 priority, pick ban kind of thing. God, I remember when I was on Chair League, it was basically whoever came out, you just ban him. You just didn't want to deal with him. He was like, Zul's out? No, we don't want to deal with him because he's OP. Li Ming's out? Well, she was just stupid OP. Oh my God, I remember those days. That was the time when I was just like, I don't know if I want to keep playing this game. But also, the other thing that I need to note here is this is my first MOBA. I got into this game because a bunch of my friends were like, we're all playing with it. We're all playing this game. And I was like, well, if I play with you, I get to play with my friends who live on the West Coast. And I was on the East Coast back then. And ironically enough, we've all swapped. They're on East Coast now. I'm on West Coast. It's absolutely wonderful. We have a first pick Kale Thuzad. Interesting. Heavy priority from ReGen onto the Kale Thuzad here. I wonder what they're going to be building around. There's probably going to be a Leoric somewhere in there. Some sort of slows, maybe a Joanna. Joanna's actually pretty popular on this map. We actually currently have a ban of ETC on the side of Alaska. Did they switch sides? No, because this looks like the draft from Alaska on the left. It's just interesting they banned the ETC. That must mean that they don't have a priority on him for this map as a tank. So, do they lean the Joanna way? Joanna is pretty strong on this map. I personally think she's wonderful here. She's a great candidate for the Dragonite. She's absolutely phenomenal on the shrines. Are we going to see a Cho'Gall here? I'm wondering, because Cho'Gall is a Dragonshire map hero. Either way, we'll talk about ReGen's draft currently. On the right-hand side, ReGen. What are you going to be taking here, guys? A tank wouldn't be bad. Maybe even a healer. Ooh. Okay, so they're going to go to the Garrosh and the Falstead here. So they'll get the Tusk. I feel like the Garrosh and the Kel'Thuzad might anti-synergize, though. We'll see. We'll see in the game. I don't know. The toss, I feel like, would throw off Kel'Thuzad a little bit. We'll see. Either way, ban-wise on the side of Alaska, looking at the draft of ReGen here, they've got a lot of assassins. Realistically, just kind of mitigating healers would be the best bet. They're going to go for the Rhaegar. I personally think I would have gone into the range of Brightwing. I feel like that would have been a priority for them, to be honest. I know it is technically a double global, but I feel like Brightwing would be a really good asset for a team here. Now, the other thing you have to realize is I'm no team drafter, shot caller or anything, and I'm not a main support, but I don't know. I feel like she's a viable hero for this map specifically. There's actually a ton of maps that she's great on. Cursed Hollow, Warhead Junction, Infernal Shrines. To be honest, I think she's great on too. The vision she can provide in going into those is extremely powerful. But oh, okay. I still think it should. Ooh, the Anubarak ban. Does that mean that they're probably going to go into an Uther here? So they don't want to get the web wrap onto the Uther. As well as the dive is really good for Anubarak. He has a very good flee as well as an engage on these shrines that you'd have in top and bottom. So overall, Anubarak ban pretty good on the side of ReGen here. What are you going to be taking here, Alaska? They need range, they need a tank, and they need a solo laner. Well, they can technically go Greymane solo lane, but I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna do that. Did they go into the Sonya again? Oh, they'll probably flex. Maybe they'll flex on their solo laner. I still think it's going to be like a Joanna and maybe a Lunara for the Vision. Joanna Lunara seems good to me. I like that combination. I am not good at this game. At least I cannot predict or at least, I can't try and piece together the draft for Alaska. Now, Joanna, Stitch's Kael'thas, that's a combination. That's tried and true. I mean, that's a combination where you get the hook into the Whirlwind, and Greymane's going to be diving on you. Meanwhile, you also have a Stukov Silence that will probably be underneath that the entire time, so you're disengaged like a barrel roll or a throw or any sort of damage from a Kael'Thuzad. If that hook lands and they get the combination out, that is going to be it's just going to be terrifying. That's not something that I would want to deal with at all. Now, these last two picks on the side of ReGen, they're going to need a healer and... Falstad for top lane, Garrosh for mid, Kael'Thuzad for bottom. I think it's like the Brightwing and Alarak, maybe? No, Uther and Arthas. Okay. Uther makes sense. We talked about it for the reasoning for the Anubarak ban. I don't know. I don't know if they needed the Arthas. Zagara here on the side of Alaska. Interesting. I like this. I like the draft out of both of these teams. I mean, they're well-rounded, strong drafts. I mean, these are well put together teams. It's just I'm curious to see how they're going to be utilized. I just feel like I don't know. ReGen's draft it's got damage, but I feel like they just don't have enough melee. I'm not sure. We'll see as this progresses here. But on the left, we have Alaska with Rexpa on Kael'thas, Bubble This on Stitches, Hedgie on Greymane, Varen on Stukov, and Sierras on Zagara. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with Templard on Garrosh, Savior on Uther, Murda on Falstead, Zul'Kan on Arthas, and Turtles on Kael'Thuzad. And I should actually say that correctly. It's Kael'Thuzad, not Kael'Thuzad, because that would be that's like combining two names together, much like what you do with Cho'Gall. But either way, we're going to go ahead and get into this game here.
Heroes, prepare for combat.
All right. Let's see here really quickly. All right. So, talent-wise, we actually have Mana Addict from Rexpa here. Slam build out from Bubble This. Looks like Templar will go into the standardized Garrosh build. Savior going into the W build, I believe. Wave of Light, yeah. Falstad going in for the Seasoned Marksman. Okay. So we currently have Zagara and Falstad in the top lane. And actually, overall, I'm curious to see who's going to be winning that over. Zagara is pretty powerful in the early game, so I'm wondering to see how that bullying is going to work out. We'll take a peek up there every so often just to see what they're up to. Currently, it's just it's the laning setup phase, but they actually dedicate a few members into this bottom lane. They get the wave clear right away, and they get the hook onto one of the members. There is the toss onto Bubble This. They are starting to split away from each other. Rexpa and Varen getting pulled together. Bubble This getting caught out by a few of the members. There is the body blocking out, but the zoning from the Lurking Arm from Varen is extremely powerful. Forces a few of the members away here. Currently, though, we do have, looks like Hedgie in the mid lane clearing that up, while the rest of the four-man is in bottom, starting their rotation up. And this is what I'm talking about here. See, they're rotating out of the lane. They've missed a couple, and this is where it slowly adds up over time. And this is the thing that I wanted to note on the last match, is that if you do these rotations, you have to make sure you're getting the wave, you're rotating, you're not missing anything from tower shots or any sort of minion waves doing any extra damage or just any of that kind of stuff. And it's difficult. It's extremely difficult, in my opinion, to do these rotations. And we tried them in Cheer League when I used to play years ago, and then we just got to the point where it's like, why don't we just lane and play the game like we know how to? And so that's what we stuck to, because we weren't very good. Now, I'm not saying that for any of these teams. It's practice. It's a lot of practice that you have to get used to doing those rotations. Now, at this point, we do have the altar currently being held over by Alaska. Murda having to Hearth at this point, getting pushed in quite a bit by Sierras. Bottom lane is being held over by Rexpa, Varen, and Bubble This. And currently in mid, there is just a little bit of a fight between Zul'Kan and Hedgie. And overall, I would think that the Greymane will win over an Arthas over time. So we'll see how this matchup is going to be going. We'll just peek around the map here and there. We actually have a toss onto Varen here. Chains are out from the Kael'Thuzad. Stun follow-up from Savior. Templar getting a bunch of damage in. There is the chain bomb onto him from Rexpa. We actually had a potential rotation from Sierras there for a gank onto one of the onto Arthas there. Turtles is falling extremely low. Gonna get a decent amount of damage out here at 11 blight stacks just from all this fighting over the shrine. Rexpa currently getting zoned in by a few of the members here. The body blocking out from ReGen. The chain does not connect, and they are able to get out of here. So that'll be first kill going over to ReGen. And actually, excuse me, in response, they're going to go ahead and get the Falstead kill on top. So they're going to get Medusa Blades. That's okay. I like that. Medusa Blades is... I've been seeing different picks, and in my opinion, if you're solo laning as a Zagara, you have to take the Medusa Blades. It's part of her laning kit. Like, if you don't... Actually, Vern getting pulled in here. Stukov is just... He's just walking around. There's a huge follow-up from Rex, but there's a toss onto Varen once again. He's just trying to get back to his gate. I don't believe he has any follow-up healing, and there will be the kill from Turtles onto him. So the response to the response is what we'll call it. We currently just have everyone playing safe at this point. We have Templar actually going over through this bush in the aggressive posturing. We currently have Hedgie in the lane, or in the bushes just above. He actually dives onto Templar here, giving chase. Do we have a hook from Stitches? We currently have a bunch of damage going out. He's just holding on to this point. I'm just going to check. He has hook. Where's... are they waiting for other abilities? Or are they just waiting for... Okay, they must be just waiting for Varen, or they're just trying to cycle this. Unfortunately, they don't get the hook onto Savior, so there'll be another 16 seconds before they can get onto that one again. Now in mid, we currently actually have Rexpa and Hedgie diving onto Zul'Kan here, who is trying to get away, tries to juke them through this bush, but unfortunately will not be happening. And that is going to be the kill onto Zul'Kan here. The rest of the team of ReGen trying to rotate up, but actually they were going to rotate in kind from this bottom lane, potentially getting caught out here. Vern getting a bunch of damage onto him. There was no follow-up chain. They do get the root onto Bubble this, though. Rexpa has rotated down into this bottom lane. There is the capture in top lane from Sierras. We have a little bit... oh, there's a pull in. There's actually a pull onto Turtles here. There's the dive from Hedgie onto Turtles, and they get the kill. And that is currently going to be mid lane held over by... oh, excuse me. No, never mind. Murda went ahead and got that point. So they're going to have to go ahead, and it's just going to be another back and forth until they can realistically get to the phase where they can, one of the teams can go ahead and try and capture this Dragonite. Zul'Kan up against Hedgie here. It looks like he is getting pushed in quite a bit, and this is what I was talking about in this laning matchup. Arthas won't win this over time, and so that's why we see the gate being pushed in so far, is because just... The damage output from Hedgie would be way too much for Arthas or Zul'Kan to really deal with, because the fact that he can't lane as quickly, so he's going to be constantly getting pushed in, and that's just free damage from the minion wave as well as the Grey main in the lane. So definitely something to consider here. But in top lane, we currently have Sierras getting dove upon. There is a pullback from Turtles. Do they have enough follow-up damage? They do, and that will be the hammering out from Murda. But at the same time, they sacrifice the Zagar here, and they go ahead and pick up the Dragonite. So while they were getting that kill, they did not stop the channel, so they will go ahead and clear out the well in mid lane. That's the reason that you're there. You don't need to deal with anything else in mid lane. At this point, you just rotate down and you go for that next... Honestly, they should rotate to the Dragonite top for that next well. But they go ahead and they actually rotate into the bottom lane, because this is really strong for them to hold this point and also open up this lane. It makes it really hard for ReGen to get onto this bottom lane point, and so they definitely can benefit a little bit more from that. So the prioritization of this is not surprising. They actually have Sierra's back up now, so he will be rotating into that top position, making sure he pushes up that lane and getting the counter push. Now we do have Bubble this currently gorge someone here, so there's the D shield out from the Uther right away. Currently have Falstad getting silenced. Murda taking quite a bit of damage, not able to use that barrel roll. The gust back is there, but unfortunately, since the patch notes are now live, the Dragonite, all vehicles are unstoppable. So gust, roots, all that kind of stuff, don't even use them on the Dragonite or Garden Terror or Defender, as we'll just call it on for the factory map. Meanwhile, though, the one thing we need to note here is Sierras has been pushing up this top lane the entire time. Falstad is going to have a gust, but there is no... Or he's going to have a flight, but there's going to be no gust. Able to just kind of poke out a little bit here, but Sierras will just kind of just poke out with the Banelings every so often, and unfortunately they will not be able to confirm that fort, but they do rotate into mid lane at this point, pushing up the minion wave onto this fort. Now we do have a rotation from ReGen at this point. Templar trying to get the pull there. There was a... Oh my god, the hook follow-up. There is a silence. There is the gorge onto one of the members. The toss is there. They actually get the pull. Zul'Kan taking a ton of damage once again. There is the fissure from Turtles trying to get out on the Bubble this, but he is that tank, so he's got a ton of health. Hook should be up soon, but there is the minion wave kind of in the way. If they do give chase to this, they could potentially hook in another member. There is no gorge though. Flailing swipe is there. Unfortunately, they do not get the hook. But I was gonna say you could get the hook and do a flailing swipe depending on how you posture up. Meanwhile, though, in this top lane, we currently have Murda up against Sierras, and he's going to get pushed back once again. We'll have a rotation into the bottom lane from Alaska at this point. They're going to go ahead and looks like they're going to pick up this camp. Now, on the side of ReGen, they can play it a little bit safe here. They're only about a level difference, so they can go ahead, get their camp, create a little bit of lane pressure, make sure they push up the lanes, and so they can maybe get onto the top, because at this point, a 3-man rotation in the top lane would definitely catch Sierras out of position, and they could definitely get the kill onto Zagara and have that little bit of extra, you know, they can clear out this lane, they can get rid of the creep, but they go ahead and Sierras gets that fort, and is going to rotate down and meet up with his team, I think, here. And it looks like they're going to... No, he's just going to put a Nidus into mid for the rotation if he needs it. They currently have this hard camp being cleared up by ReGen. And they're doing the safe thing here. They're playing the game until they get 13s. And so it looks like we do have a 4-man rotation onto this point. Looks like ReGen will go ahead and just continue to clear the lane. Falstead, Murda in top lane, is going to be able to go ahead, pick this up so they don't get the channel right away. Though Zagara has picked up this hard camp at the same time, so this is definitely something they need to worry about, honestly. This top siege camp did get pushed in by Murda here, so they are going to get a little bit of the gate. He's going to try and whittle this down a little bit, but at the same time, we do have Rexpa hiding in this bush. They do have vision from the creep. Falstead is going to use the barrel roll, so he does not have that disengage anymore. But currently is the whirlwind. There's the flame circle underneath. The Phoenix was just the amount of damage that they needed. But currently, the one thing that we need to note here is there's a huge fight happening. Vern taking quite a bit of damage. The flailing sweat coming out. He is getting so extremely low. There is the fissure from Kel'Thuzad, and he will be dying. Now, there is a Howling Blast onto Bubble This. They do get a little bit of damage out of him. There is the pull into the toss. They get the stun follow-up. Taunt is there, and they are trying to lock down Bubble This as much as possible. But unfortunately... No, actually, fortunately, they get the kill. But there is the dive onto Greymane from Greymane and Rexpa here. Curse Bolt does go out, but it does not connect onto any of the members. And they get away. Zul'Kan with just barely any health. So they get 2-for-0 trade. Overall winning that out. Now, Rexpa has rotated down here as well. So this won't be held anymore by ReGen at all. And they potentially have channel here. It really just depends on how they rotate members down. Savior is currently in mid. There's the disengage from Hedgie, so he does jump out into lane, but the rest of ReGen is here at this point. They are starting to get onto him. Dives back into the team. The Ice Spire is there. Did they get the pull back? They pull him back into the team. There's a bunch of damage going out onto him. Zul'Kan fighting, getting extremely low here, but there's the taunt out. We actually get the kill onto Arthas first, and that's going to be it. They completely disengage from each other. Falstead in top lane going to push that back, work towards those 16s. Garrosh behind the gate, and I believe that was the reason for the disengage. I missed that he got gorged. I was like, they're just going to stop fighting all of a sudden? Turtle's falling extremely low. The heal doesn't connect in time, and he will, or she will fall, actually. Savior going to be potentially next, getting a ton of damage out from the Dragon Knight. Dive in from Heavy. Hedgie, is there a cocktail through the gate? The kick is there, but 90 health! Savior is able to get out. The kick saving him. Meanwhile, working towards closer to those 16s, we have had Murda in this top lane pushing this up, trying to get a little bit closer, but he is unsure of where the enemy team is currently. They should show at the gate at this point, so I would expect... Oh, he's going to just hearth back at this point. Okay. Save that flight. That's smart. Now the question is, are they going to go for a fancy gust here? They don't have 16s. They want to play this safe. And that's the Sierras is a little bit deep here. Zagara, I don't think, has an out at this point. Falstead going for the flight. Unfortunately, it wasn't far enough. There is the taunt. Actually, it was far enough. They'd get the taunt onto Sierras here. Rexpa currently coming back. They actually get the counter kill onto Falstead. Murda falling low here. Sierras falling is so extremely low. There is the counter kill onto Zagara. There is the D-shield onto the Garrosh, but we do have Hedgie currently diving onto Templar. He will be dying. Turtles will get a chain off onto one of the members of Alaska, but Zul'Kan falling so extremely low. The cocktail does go out, dealing a little bit more damage. Zul'Kan able to tap well and get out, but there is the hook from Bubble Fizz and the kill from Rexpa. Currently, Turtles is a little bit low here. We'll be able to get out. The slam from the Stitches. I looked over at Rag and... Oh, Rag. How you doing, bud? Thanks for swinging by. I just looked over in Twitch chat and just... Alaska versus ReGen. Who's ReGen? That's good. That's clever. I like that. But currently we just have a disengage from Alaska. And at this point, looks like Murda will be just clearing up this bottom lane while we have the rest of the team kind of playing safe. They're going to poke out here, pull onto Rexpa. Potential for a ton of damage, but they actually they get the hook. Oh my god, Kael'thas falling here. Rexpa will be dying, but Kael'thas will potentially get away. The taunt will go over, and they get the kill onto Varen as well. So they get a 2-for-0 trade. So on the side of ReGen, that's very good for them. They get that level gap closure. We do have Sierras. The majority of the top lane has had its creep pretty much cleared out, so he will have to kind of rebuild that around the map. But he does have this very good vision in the center area for these rotations. So that's a good thing to at least be holding at this point, as well as a little bit down here, so they do see when people are roaming around. But at this point, they're going to go for the double camp. Arthur's currently in the mid lane, just pushing this up. So they want to create pressure in every lane. At the same time, Alaska will go ahead and create a little bit more with the siege camp in the bottom lane, and I think Sierras will be going ahead and starting this hard camp to counter the one in top, and it looks like so. So currently in top is being held over by ReGen, and bottom will probably go over to them quickly because they're going to go ahead and have Templar down there as well. Now, Zul'Kan and Turtles are in mid. They currently have Bubble this just for the protection. Murda has rotated down into lane. He is currently on the point. Do they stop this in time? They actually get the Dragonite here. So Murda's currently piloting the Dragonite. They're going to walk this down the mid lane. A lot of damage going out onto Bubble this. He could potentially fall to get the pullback, and that will be the kill onto Bubble this. So ReGen starting to crawl back in this game, closing that level gap difference, as well as starting to get a lot of damage out onto some of these into this mid lane. They're opening up the map a little bit for themselves, which is extremely powerful. Now, the one thing they need to note is that there is a siege camp with catapults in bottom lane, so they will have to respond to that soon. So the longer that this is delayed out, the better it is for Alaska realistically. Now, this wizard has been just cleared out, and this is the power of the catapults. Now, the rest of the team has rotated down here. They will be able to kind of push this back, get a little bit of damage out, but a ton of damage coming out from Rexpa here. A huge root from Kael'thas onto Kael'thas. Oh, this is going to be... I say it actually. I need to flop that around. But we do have Murda with just 2% health, like milk, on to the Dragonite. There is no pull from Turtles once again, so they go ahead, and it looks like they get the disengage here, and they get the kill. But at the same time, they have had this Siege Giant working on the shielding for the core, and at this point, the minion wave and hard camp that they picked up earlier in the game is finally pushing into top. Oh, Rag, I absolutely love casting these scrims. Any reason I get to cast games, I will take it. So this is a pleasure for me, and I should be thanking you guys. Now a huge amount of damage going out into Zul'Kan there. A little bit of healing out from Savior there, but there is the zoning with the silence. The hook does go out from Bubble. This does not connect on any of the members. Vern getting a ton of healing out. Oh my god, just really quickly, what is he at? He's at 45,000 healing. Jesus. Oh, okay. I was like, why is it? Ooh, there's a shield. Okay, now it swaps between the two. That's interesting. But either way, go back and look at these talents. Basically, at this point, both teams have 20s. But Alaska, if you look at the map, they have got the majority of the lane control here. They've got the majority of the towers still available. So they're definitely, it's their game to kind of lose at this point. So what they're going to realistically be doing is just playing the safe game. They're going to play around the Dragonite. They're going to play around these camps. Okay, that's interesting. So in spectator mode, you can see the countdown for camps, but in ref mode, you can't. But in spectator mode, you can't hit pause break, but in ref mode, you can. See, Blizzard, come on, just smash the two together and we'll call it a day. Let me turn on and off chat or something, you know? Either way, just make it one mode. You don't need two. But we currently have a huge posture in bottom between both teams. And this is the point of this map is one of those maps that even though Alaska has all of their forts still up and all that, you get a Dragonite getting late into this game, it could potentially be the end of it because of the fact that these Dragonites are going to start to scale and do a ton of damage. Hook does go out onto Templar. They get a ton of damage onto him as well. No flip or anything. Gust is actually a little premature there. There's a huge slow out from Bubble this. Just the rifling of those banelings from Sierras from the backline. There is, unfortunately, there's no follow-up. They don't get the pull. They actually get the hook and gorge onto Turtles here. The rest of the team currently diving out. The D shield does go out onto Turtles. There's a huge silence all the way around to bubble this, but he will be falling. But Uther falling at the exact same time. He probably does have redemption. Zul'Kan getting flipped over by Templar. Now, the one thing we have to note here, Zagara's got Nidus Network. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see Zagara popping into top lane. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. He's going to... Sierra's getting out right before... So we'll keep an eye on this 1v1. Now, we currently have the rest of ReGen rotating up a little bit here for this point. But at the same time, they currently hold the bottom over on the side of Alaska, and they get that camp as well to push up. Now, ReGen's going to do in kind on the right-hand side, pushing in with this camp into the top lane. But Alaska's going to go ahead and do the same. They're just saying, you know, we don't want to fight you, because if we, you know, fight you and lose, you could potentially just, you know, rip down a lane, and that'll be the end for us. So at this point, a lot of the teams are just playing. You can see them; they're playing safe. They're not going past, you know, the death line, which is the halfway, you know, point on the map since it's symmetrical. But we do have a bush party, so we have to be quiet because you never want to talk too loud during a bush party. Zul'Kan coming out. Oh, they are all scattered out here, and the rest of the team is going to rotate away. Now, we do have Bubble Disc currently getting a hook out onto the Garrosh here, pulling away from a few of the members. There's the first bullet onto him as well, but they get the pull onto him. They're going to start running away with him, putting him quite far behind the towers. He won't be able to get out, but the D-Shield is there from Savior, saving the Garrosh, but unfortunately there is not enough to get him. They actually get this... For 1 second, they get onto Zul'Kan with that whirlwind from Rexpa, but unfortunately that is not going to be enough. Now, one thing we need to note here, catapults have arrived at ReGen's core. They need to make sure that someone gets back or someone gets up and alive soon to go ahead and clear it out. Murda checking, but he's actually going to get rotated on behind here. The Gus disengaged, able to save himself. There's a Howling Blast out from Zul'Kan. Sierras will be able to grab this Dragonite, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see this thing rotate into bottom lane. They go for the core. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and do that exactly. ReGen going ahead and posturing up, making sure that they get this catapult pushed back. They don't want any extra damage onto the core at this point because this is exactly the do or die time. Now, Garrosh is up in 14 seconds. If they can delay this long enough, they can get their Garrosh back and potentially get some displacement here that can really throw off Alaska, and they won't be, you know, maybe they can turn this fight around, but they get the Gorge onto one of the members. Bubble this actually has the Kale Fazad. He will be dying. They also have Savior, so they will be, but Kale Fazad actually buying back right away. They actually get the pull onto Bubble this, is double onto Vern as well, but the taunt onto two of the members from Templar. The core falling so low, it looks like this will be the game going over to Alaska. GG, well played. All right, and welcome back. We will figure out, they said more. I don't know if they want to do another one after this. If they wanted to, how many, I need to know how many more. So let me ask them really quick. That was in lobby, we asked them. So I'll just wait. I'm going to wait a few seconds. They will discuss amongst themselves, and we're going to hang out here. Reg, hope you're doing well. Oh, yeah. No, thanks for coming by, everybody. I really appreciate everyone who swung by the stream tonight and checked out the games. Absolutely so nice of you all. So just looking at these numbers here, siege damage out from Hedgie. I don't even think he got into the Dragonite. Comparatively, though, to Murda, I think he did get in there once. But 40,000 difference, I mean, phenomenal laning from both teams. Absolutely great laning. Damage-wise, Kale Fazad. The numbers show. I mean, he is an absolutely powerful mage. And I'm not saying, like, if you get Kale Fazad, you win. I'm just saying that the damage output from Kale Fazad and the burst, if you can get it, it's terrifying. You can 100 to 0 someone like post 16 if you have your blight stacks and everything. Like, he is a terrifying hero, and I guess it's just one of those things. Like, we'll see as everything is developed. Listening to shot calls. Their Twitch chat is talking to each other. I was just like, I'm not listening to shot calls. Oh. But at this point, let's go ahead and just take a peek at some of the talents. Nothing too crazy here. I'm just looking through all the talents. I'm not seeing anything. That's interesting. So typically with the Falstead, you go into the two Tailwind talents at 13 and 16, because then you get the CDR and your hammering. But that's mostly used for this is like a very interesting, like the 50% slow. I like that, and the giant killer is beneficial. But they only picked up one tank, so I don't know. It's just I think it's the cooldown on your Tailwind, so you can scoot around the map a little bit quicker. I don't know. It's still a good choice. They definitely got value out of it, obviously. But definitely amazing games from everybody here. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just double check really quickly with the teams. If we have more, I can actually just look and see if... Oh, okay, we do. I just got a message. Doing one more. All right, so this will be the last game of the evening. Let me go ahead and set up the assets. I just have to update the score on the left-hand side. Alrighty. Well, but once again, thank you so much to everyone who swung by. Thank you so... Died midstream. Oh, no. I'm so sorry that your laptop died. I know the feeling, though. Like, my tablet does the same thing, and I'm like, but no, what's gonna happen? And like, no, please, don't die on me. Absolutely. Just... I love it. The one thing, though, I'm out of water. All right. I need like 3. Is that okay? I just need to. I typically usually have like a little break at this point, so I just need to run to the bathroom really quick. Oh. All right. BRB. We'll be right back, stream. Please stay tuned. We are back. We are back. We are back. One more game. Oh, no Mocha. Mocha asked. How come? Oh, do I need? I apologize if I. Okay. 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 Here. R. Go. All right. Boop. Gotta hover over that, and we should be all set before we go into this next one. Also, Rag, just so you know, I ran and made a nice beverage for myself in honor of you. So thanks for swinging by. But All right, so they are ready. We will go ahead and just hover the button. Oh. We had someone drop at the last second. So I'll just, we'll wait. Ooh, delicious. All right, but we will be going into our final map here any second. There it is. We're going to be going into Tomb of the Spider Queen. I am absolutely excited about this. All right, but we are going to get into this final matchup here. Alaska on the left with ReGen on the right. Going into Tomb of the Spider Queen here. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. I wonder what they're going to be bringing out for this last game. I'm hoping they bring out some fancy stuff during this game. Now the question is, do they ban? So the big thing here is like there isn't. So wave clear. Ooh, Alaska, what are you doing? That's indicative of something. That is something is coming down the road, and I'm curious if ReGen's gonna spot it out. Now, a Malthael ban does not signify one specific hero at all, but the one thing I want to note here as I was starting, we were getting into this, is that there's going to be a prioritization on wave clear. There's definitely going to need to be, what's the delay on the stream? The delay is actually 2 minutes. So you'll know when you ask that question, it's exactly when I type 2 minutes. It's just a standardized thing that I typically do for whenever I cast teams. Most teams, G&T? Oh, yeah, it's a G&T. I should pay attention to draft. I apologize. But, yes, Rag, it's a G&T. It's a delicious one. First, second pick here. What are they going to pick up? The Kael'Thuzad was powerful, but they're going to ban it. They banned it out, obviously. The Garrosh is pretty good for their team. Do they just go into... I think they should just lock in... I was going to say Garrosh Stukov, but they went ahead and took Stukov Chromie. Ooh, so high priority on the Chromie this map. Ooh, I apologize. There's a couple frames that are dropping there. I do not know what is affecting that. But I will go ahead and just do one thing really quickly. I will go ahead and close out Discord. Typically, it doesn't affect me too much, but we're going to go ahead and just close it out so we don't have to deal with it anymore. My computer already went through its daily lock, and by saying that, I know I'm going to jinx myself, but we shouldn't have a lockup during this game or anything. Now, before we go to the next ban phase, I honestly wouldn't be too surprised to see something like a Rhaegar Gray main here. I personally would actually like to see that. I think that's a good... I think that's a very good composition that is run together. The ETC lends very well to those two, so that's the reason I was thinking that you'd go into the Gray main Rhaegar. The Gray main has really good solo laning ability as... What? I don't think the draft really shows Cho'Gall, but they're going to go ahead and ban it out. Interesting. Sweet Jesus, no Cho'Gall. And they ban out the Garrosh, yeah. They had locked in the Garrosh a couple games in a row, so I'm not surprised that they're banning it out. So on the side of ReGen, they need a solo laner, they need a main tank, and they need probably... they're going to need wave clear on top of that. So I don't know how well Chromie and Ariel pair together, but I wouldn't be too... Nope. They already have the Stukov. They're not going to run a second healer. What am I thinking? I think it's either going to, like, maybe even a Jaina here wouldn't be too bad. Chromie and 1-2? Not bad idea to have Chromie in 1-2. Oh, you're asking why Chromie's in the 1-2. I honestly, there's a high priority this game. They really want it. But I think at this point they're going to be locking in main tank. Like Diablo, Arthas wouldn't be bad. And then some sort of wave clear like a Ghoul Cassia? Web wrap for the Rhaegar, obviously, but Cassia the blind on the Greymane, maybe, but why not just take a Joanna at that point? Now, granted, they could go into Joanna for their final pick. I personally think Lunara over Cassia, especially on a map like this. Poison damage is way too beneficial. The blind, yeah, is great, but then just take Joanna. I mean, I'm just a little bit picky here, but... These last two pickups, though. What are you going to take? It's got to be... They're going to need a mage. And then they're going to need a... Alarak Jaina, please. Alarak Jaina, please. Alarak Jaina, please. I just wanted them. But we're going to have Zagara Gul'dan. So they get the wave clear from the Gul'dan, and they get the solo laning from the Zagara, as well as the vision and the rotations from her are going to be absolutely horrible to deal with. Oh, I'm not best caster. Predictions, I just look at... I'm just connecting loose dots. I'm not making good predictions. It's just like... it's like... This isn't even a good analogy, but I'm going to use it regardless. It's like pulling wet spaghetti out of your pockets and just like trying to create something with it. Like that's me connecting dots. I'm just like, well, they need these things and they've done these things. So it's like, I'm not that great. No, it's just seeing patterns within teams is definitely something you can notice, as well as, you know, there are standardized things that just do well on maps. Like I make this argument with friends a lot, and it's not really like, you know, like screaming or anything like back and forth. It's just like the argument I always make is like, oh, we should draft this, but I'm just like, but we could draft, you know, this instead and get a better, you know, if you're drafting something for wave clear and you're like, all right, well, we'll take Sonya, and this isn't a good analogy, but I'm basically just saying, like, there are certain heroes that do some things better. Like if you're gonna go for like specialists, like people are like, for example, me, I'm always just like, oh, Asmodan's phenomenal, you know, for this and this and that, but because I can play him pretty decently at the lower tiers. But in higher tier of play, there's just, if you take him for wave clear, you're not taking him right, because he's not good at wave clear post 10 until post 10. Like, he doesn't do much for a team. So there's a lot of things, like, they're just better heroes. So like that's my whole argument with the Cassia. Like, I just think that there's potential for more for the team, but they get that Falstead, so they got that global threat. Either way, though, we're gonna go into game number 4 here. On the left-hand side, we have Alaska with Rexpa on Gul'dan, Bubbledus on ATC, Hedgie on Greymane, Baron on Rhaegar, and Sierras on Zagara. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with Templart on Anub'arak, Savior on Stukov, Turtles on Chromie, Murda on Falstead, and Zul'Kan on Cassia. Rag, I have no idea why she was so highly prioritized in draft. It might have just been one of those things that they just wanted to get and try out. I mean, these are scrims, so people are, you know, they're testing out different builds and stuff. Gul'dan Zagara. Insane amount of poke. Insane amount of lane push, too. Tons of siege, exactly. I apologize, I was taking a drink there. Trying not to clink the ice too much in my glass. I shouldn't have put any in there. So first level, we don't really have anything too out of the ordinary. We don't have new Nubarian armor from the Anub'arak. We actually have him going into the ReGen Globe stacks. Otherwise, nothing too out of the ordinary. Just a lot, a lot of sieging on the side of Alaska. But at the same time, they've got that poke from Chromie, so let's just see what they're going to be able to do with this. Now, there's limited range from the Cassie, and this is the thing that I'm worried about. This is the reason why I argue Lunara over Cassia. Cassie has a shorter range. I don't believe that her wave clear is as good as Lunara, because once you have Splintered Spear, that is just way quicker. 2-minute delay, don't forget. Alright, I'm going to stop reading Twitch chat at this point. We are going to focus on this game. Currently, though, we do have a rotation coming out from the majority of these teams between top and mid, so they're going to go ahead and focus on this for the priority. They're going to prioritize these rotations for the majority of the game. Now, Zagara is going to be able to get a lot of the creep down in this bottom lane. Murda will try and probably be able to clear this out with some of those hammerings if he can, but pretty much going to be utilizing those for the majority of wave clearing. Now, between these two lanes, we are not going to have too much action. We're going to have a lot of just back and forth, and this is exactly what I was talking about 2 games ago in the last game, is that if you do these rotations, the towers could potentially end up killing some of the minions, and you technically will lose out on experience. And we're starting to see those rotations kind of flounder a little bit between the teams. We're starting to see them, they're slower. I mean, they're not... Typically, when you do these, you want to wave clear, rotate, and what they're doing is they're doing a lot of fighting in between that, and that slows you down, so these rotations become completely mitigated. And the other thing that we have to consider, too, is that they're making predictable rotations through these mid spots, and they're utilizing a lot of just AoE abilities like Gul'dan's corruption stacks as well as his Fell Flame, definitely scouting that out, and getting a lot of good poke. Okay, that's I was like, who's going to end up hitting it? But Bubble Disc will body the damage from that Sandblast, so Rexpa doesn't have to take it. But he takes one straight to the face. We'll have to siphon off some health from some of these minions, so he will be able to get some of his mana back. Now in bottom lane, we can see that Sierras has pushed up this lane quite a bit, as well as just gotten a lot of creep out. Murda had to hearth back. I'm assuming the words, I don't know, my brain was just like sizzling for a second. He had to hearth back there for a quick second to probably get full on mana. Now we do have a little bit of a fight in this rotation here. Cassie is a Zul'Kan able to get a little bit of that burst out onto Bubble this, but at this point we do have a slide in from ETC onto Zul'Kan, taking quite a bit of damage. Looks like they will get the poke out onto Varen from the Chromie. Ooh, Turtle's getting at this point 18 stacks of her Sandblast. That's quick. That is quite quick. At this point, Rexpa is sitting near halfway through his questing town at level 1. Looks like ETC is about a quarter of the way through. Turtles is about halfway through, and Templar, yes, Templar will be a quarter as well. But Zul'Kan taking quite a bit of damage, but he's getting body blocked. Blind does go out. The slows are there. They are not able to get the kill, though. The last second silence out, just trying to maybe see if they can silence the Rhaegar from the heal and they can get that follow-up damage. But currently, Templar in this top lane just pushing up quite a bit. Sierras will have 16 to turn in. They have 50 on the side of Alaska, so I'm curious to see. Are they going to go for the turn-in? Are they going to try and push up these lanes a little bit, maybe wait for 7s? Are they going to try and get a power advantage? There's definitely, when you have enough on your team, you know, what do you do? What do you go for? The same question goes for ReGen. Do they just go for the straight turn-in? Do they go for a power advantage? Do they get a kill then go for the turn-in? We'll see. We'll definitely see. There's a lot of setup in my opinion on this map. There's a lot of laning till you get to those first 50 gems, and then I honestly feel like that's when the map starts. Until then, it's just laning and getting gems. We actually have Zul'Kan diving in here, but Rexpa will siphon out quite a bit of health from him. Is able to use that to get quite a bit of mana back. Turtle's able to slow down Bubble this, getting a combo onto him as well, but Sierras will come up here. Looks like Turtles will get another Sandblast out onto Rexpa. He will get a combo onto the Savior as well. Cassia diving in here, doing quite a bit of damage to Rexpa. Vern coming down here, getting the slow onto Zul'Kan. Time Trap did go out from Chromie. Hedgie trying to turn at this point, but Turtles providing a lot of poke. And but Bubble this will come right in here and start to just body some of this damage, as well as just say, just try and stop us from turning in. They get 23 in at this point. There's a huge dive in from Templar into the backline. Rexpa taking quite a bit of damage, will end up falling. That'll be the first kill going over to ReGen. Turtle's trying to get a little bit more poke damage out, but it will not connect. They have enough for a turn in here, I believe, just from Murda. He actually stops and goes for the... Oh, Zagara was poking. I was like, why is he stopping? Banelings are out at this point. What does not connect onto any of the members. Gul'dan is currently back, so Rexpa is going to be rotating back into that lane. Now, Sierra's going back into this bottom here. Going to be pushing out a little bit further. Rest of the team does come around, but they do have the vision from the creep, so they do see where the members are kind of hiding in these bushes and everything and making these rotations to go in for the gank. And the one thing I want to note here is that why did Murda stop? Was he getting poked by Zagara? I didn't see any damage going out onto him, but I had the camera just kind of ever so slowly, so maybe there was just a ranged attack or something going on to him. But this will be the first turn in going over to Alaska. Power slide out from Bubble This onto Zul'Kan will actually push him away from the team. Don't think they were going to go for a kill there, it looks like. At this point, though, this is pretty early. ReGen has a lot of ground to cover, but the majority of the lanes kind of push back. They are dedicating a lot of their members into this top lane on the side of Alaska here. And the reason they're doing this is because this is the boss lane. This is typically your win condition. It's the shortest lane in the game. So definitely this is the win condition. If you push this up the most, you definitely can push that boss into the later game, into a keep, and even into the core. Rexpa getting a lot of poke damage out into Zul'Kan here. Templar trying to zone a few of the members away. Rexpa is going to be taking quite a bit of damage from Chromie. Turtle's getting quite a bit. There is the cleanse out. Templar trying to get the follow-up. There is the vision from the Time Walker's Pursuit, but it is not in range. They will not be able to get that kill. And meanwhile, the Web Weaver was pushed up into mid by Hedgie. He does get the dive onto Templar. Does miss the stun. Slide in from ETC. There's the silence, the pushback, the knockback from onto all the members here, and they are able to keep Hedgie alive here. They're actually going to get the Horrify out. 10s have been achieved. Excuse me, I completely missed that. We actually have Zul'Kan diving in here. Greymane diving onto Zul'Kan. Is there a Gilneas cocktail to follow up? Unfortunately not. It does hit Templar, but they do not get the kill onto Zul'Kan. So that's going to be a one for nothing trade. They did have 10s on the side of Alaska there, and I believe they are quite close to another turn in here. They should be about 7 away at this point, so they just realistically need a minion wave and they can go for another turn in. Now the question is, do they stagger it or do they go straight for the turn in to get the extra value since the lane's already pushed in and the members are just kind of now coming back? And it looks like they go ahead and have Rexpa turn in the 7. They get the back-to-back turn-ins, and they are going to start another Web Weaver phase on the side of Alaska. Looks like Sierras will jump into the Nidus network and just get some healing and mana back. Quite a few of the members are postured up in this top lane. We do have the majority of Alaska rotating up here as well. Some quick things to note really quickly here is they have Web Wrap on the side of ReGen. This is something they need to worry about. Now the Time Trap does go out onto the ETC. Bubble is taking a little bit of damage from Turtle, excuse me. They are going to get a little bit of poke here, but there's the power slide from Bubble This onto a few of the members. There is the Mosh available, but they are going to hold it. It looks like they're... I saw the power slide in. I was like, are they going to go for a really early Mosh here? But they don't go for it. Zul'Kan taking a little bit of damage from Rexpa there. But at this point, we currently just have Murda in bottom lane, just pushing back the Web Weaver down there. The Web Weaver in mid is going to be pushing onto that keep gate, and they start to save this top lane a little bit. They lose the fort, yes, but at the same time, the Web Weaver was pretty low. Now, the rest of the team of Alaska rotating to this mid lane, and with half a health Web Weaver, they could potentially go for the core, or not the core, the keep here. Rest of ReGen will rotate in place. And they won't be able to get the keep here. So they just kind of posture around. They get a little poke damage out. Throw out a few cocktails. Work on some stacks. A few things we should note. Just stacks really quickly while we have this downtime. Looks like Gul'dan is done with his level 1. ETC is about 3/4 of the way through with his. Anub'arak is just over 3/4 of the way. Looks like Turtles is... I don't know how you want to get into fractions. We'll call it just... we'll call it above half. Looks like Murda is getting close to finishing his out. I think he's 15 away. So at this point, we currently have the camps being picked up on both sides. Now, there is a talent advantage and about a level difference here. Once they get this camp, it should just kind of push them over into 12s. I lied. They need a minion still. But there's about a level and a half difference here. And they're playing extremely safe on the side of Alaska with the talent advantage that they have, which is interesting to me. They're definitely playing this game they're playing this game at their pace. Now Murda, 53 gems. He needs to play safe. He is probably going to be the apple of the eye of Alaska right now, just trying to make sure that they get that kill. Same with Templard and Zul'Kan. I mean, 103 gems, and they haven't been able to turn in for their first yet. And just the zoning from Alaska has just been too much for them to be able to just kind of get into these zones and just get their one person to turn in. Because at this point, it's either a Nubarak, a Templart, or Murda. That's all you need. You need one of them just to get onto the point and turn in. But ETC currently zoning down this bottom one. They are going to rotate a few of the members down here. Templart and Bubble This will just kind of meet and back away right from each other. At this point, we do have a rotation from a few of the members of Alaska, and potentially Templart could be dying here. We do have the burrow out, and he will be safe. Murda and Turtles coming in with the team, getting a little bit of that poke damage out and pushing up the lane just a little bit. Some of the things that we need to note at this point, though, really quickly, we currently have Sierras in the bottom lane. Getting that camp going to create a little bit more pressure. We have the top lane getting stacked up quite a bit on minions, so it's going to become a little bit of a nuisance on the side of Alaska. They're going to need to respond to that top lane soon. Bubble This getting chased away from his team a little bit here. But he is able to just kind of delay this, getting a lot of vision out for his team, making sure that they don't get onto this point. Murda trying to get this turn in. There is the Baneling, or excuse me, the Roachlings from Sierras, but there is Templar diving in. The cleanse is out onto Rex, but the Horrify is there. The Ancestral Healing does connect onto him. Starts to pull help from Zul'Kan, but in his backline, Sierras is taking so much damage, but there's a huge mosh onto a few of the members. Templar, he does get the burrow out, but I think it's actually ended prematurely. They don't get any follow-up kills, and that's going to be a Zagara. That's going to be a free kill for ReGen. So they end up winning that over. Turtles taking quite a bit of damage, but at this point, they will rotate into the top. Zul'Kan taking quite a bit. They get the kill onto Cassie. Now they are going to go up into here. They actually get the turn in, and so that is going to be the first Web Weaver phase for ReGen now. This top lane, this is going to need to get pushed out eventually, but it currently looks like they're not going to let that happen. On the side of Alaska, they're just going to push right into the members of ReGen, saying, you get this Web Weaver phase, but if it spawns super far back, we can just delay this forever. And it looks like that's kind of what they do. Top is so far pushed back, it's at the keep. Bottom is so far pushed back, it's coming from the keep gate. And mid is going to get melted quite quickly because there's a 4-man right here that is currently working this down very fast. Zagara is already back into top lane. Sierra's back from death, able just to use that Nidus network to get around the map quite quickly. And during this time, with a lot of the members kind of pushed back, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Sierra's utilizing this to make sure that he gets a lot of vision around the map, as they are going to be rotating from top to mid to bottom to back to top, it looks like. So this is definitely a benefit on his end, just to get a little bit more vision out. Now, at the same time, they do have this 13-minute Web Weaver currently pushing up into the top lane. They will get a pretty decent value for this because of the fact that they've already, been postured up with their Web Weaver. Sierra's getting quite a bit of damage out from those Banelings onto the Web Weaver here, but it will be getting the gate here. It will push this out quite a bit. They do have the lurking arm from Stukov, so it is going to just kind of slow them down. There's a power slide onto Murda from Bubble This, but with 16s achieved, they go ahead and they say, you know what, we don't want to fight you guys. You guys have a little bit of an advantage on us, and we're just going to play safe here. Falstad actually flying into the bottom lane. Currently have a little bit of a stun from Templar. Drone taking a little bit of damage from Turtles. Not too much, though. Just checking in on some of these. Turtles only needing one more Sandblast. All right, there it is exactly, actually. Power slide in from Bubble This onto Turtles. The follow-up damage was just a little bit behind, but there's a lot of corruption coming out from Gul'dan. There is the funnel back from Zul'Kan as he just did the damage, and he just took it, the health right back. Chroma getting the double Sandblast out, but it will not connect because the range was just a wee bit too far. Now, on the side of Alaska, they are about... there is this onto Templar. He will be falling, and that is a lot of gems falling for ReGen here. And with that kill, it looks like they rotate straight into boss. Now, the big question is, do they sniff this out in time? And unfortunately, it does not look like they will be able to. So they go ahead. They get this boss. This will be pushing up into the top lane now. They only need another 3 gems. So at this point, they need a minion wave clear. And they have enough for another turn-in. Excuse me, I did math completely wrong. They already have enough for a turn-in. And they're going to go ahead and it looks like they're going to take advantage of it. Looks like Rexpa will body a little bit of damage here. So Hedgie and Vern can finish turning in. But the poison damage out from Rexpa. Stasis is there, so he does actually get the regen from that, and she will be able to get out of there alive. Now, with this, though, at the same time, we do have a dive onto Savior, and that will be Stukov falling. They don't even have the Web Weaver turn-in phase just yet. The boss is still pushing into this top lane. Turtles is only at about 200 health, hasn't gone back yet. Poking out a little bit. Starting to get a little bit of damage, but they're going to go ahead and aggress onto a few. Onto Zul'Kan here. Does he... Okay, he is able to get out, but it looks like the majority of the team is currently going to just walk onto this core. Are they really about to core rush this? Murda able to use the gust and pushes the entire enemy team into their fort. Huge mosh from Bubble this onto 3 of the members, and they start to burn them down. They get the kill onto Murda. Templar falling low, but the Zul'Kan will get killed. Templar falling low as well, and Sister healing onto Rex, but the web wrap is out onto Hedgie. But it looks like this will be the core falling. Horrify pulls Turtles out of her core. They actually get the knockback. Turtles falling a little bit low. They actually get the kill onto her as well. Cleanse at the last second onto Hedgie. He is able to live there. And ETC is going to end this game? Are we serious? All right. That is the 4th game going over to Alaska. GG. Well played.